Hi, my name is Sally Barnard, an artist, author, and spiritual experiencer. Welcome to Call Me Zena, a true story into the spiritual realms. Join me as I sit and discuss the journey of self-discovery, and with the help of my spirit guides, it's time to trust your intuition. Sit with me and call in live, 888-994-4995, Studio A. And now onto the show.
Oh, okay. Okay, yeah, it's okay. Hello, I'm on. Hi, everybody. Welcome to my show. I didn't realize we were on the air. Are we on the air? Okay, normally the monitor's on. Welcome, everybody. We have another show today. It's that time of the day. So any questions, please call in if you have a question. Actually, what I did, and we were discussing it on your show, the first person that calls in that has a question, we're going to try and maybe make that the topic of the day. Please call in at 888-994-4995, Studio A. I look forward to hearing from you. Okay, let's open it up. This is kind of a strange opening here. Anybody got a... Freddie, do you have a question? Or Dawn, where are you?
I'm trying to get your computer screen.
Okay.
Oh, there's one.
There is, come up. I'm kind of used to looking at myself. I didn't realize we were on. So do you have a question, Dawn, today for me? That's all right. Just turn it around slightly.
I wouldn't want anyone else to get up.
There's going to be a
That's what I would say in my house.
kind of a pause. Maybe we're pausing because the spirits have to get together. They weren't ready for the show. Okay, I am, and we are, but they're not.
There was an on and off button.
Okay,
Yes.
so here we go. That's better. I can
Yes.
see me, and I can see I see my audience. And
The high technology, the on and off button.
Hi, everybody. Okay, I'm just used to looking at myself on the show. The spirits were telling us to just bide the time and talk about something else.
Yeah, so my question is, do the spirits and family members that have passed come more during the holiday time?
I love that question because I got a very good answer for that a little while ago. Somebody else, or I believe it was you, that asked me that. Yes, I think they do. They're here all the time. We don't necessarily have to summon them to come in because I do my channeling. I mean, do they know it's definitely this time of the day? They're here because I'm here. But I think we're more aware because if it's a holiday time, if it's someone's birthday or an anniversary or we're celebrating, especially maybe even on their birthdays that they were on their birthday here on Earth, we're very aware of them. So they are very happy to know that at that particular time we are thinking of them because they do know that. I'm absolutely certain they do. So yes, they do, I'm going to say, hang around. And they come on various different dates that would be meaningful to us. Yeah.
I keep finding my grandfather I know he's always around, but now he's really around. I hear songs with his name. I see a license plate with his name.
You're right. And I truly, absolutely understand that, Dawn, because it's happened to me many times and to many people. Because how else are they going to show that? We're aware, but there are many people that are not. And then they suddenly see their name or they suddenly see a license plate or something that they are around. So they somehow know how to contact us. We don't always know how to contact them. So when we see that, or we're sure it is them, as you're just saying with your grandfather, just say to them, because they do hear, hi, you're around. Thank you so much. You can even ask for a specific thing and listen to, and you're aware of this, I know that, Dawn. Listen to what you hear. Not maybe or even somebody else can give you a message from them, actually. Unexpectedly, someone can show up and give you a message because they don't only work with the person that they're working with to talk to. They use other outside, things that can happen that would remind you of your grandfather or whomever it is.
So it's just to let us know that they're here.
Absolutely, because when they're here, we can ask them questions and we'll listen. Maybe that you asked a question and not necessarily me because I am a little psychic, so I might hear, but someone that isn't might just suddenly say something.
So you said that they can always find us, but we can't necessarily find them. Is there a way that we can reach out to them other than just saying,
Absolutely,
hey?
yes, and there are many methods. I mean, I come on my show and I'm channeling, as you know. and I'm not always aware of what I'm saying. So that for somebody like me, and there are many, many people like me, they're aware that they can talk through us. But if you're not necessarily in tune, let's say, at that particular time with somebody, as I was just saying, they will show it in different ways. Somebody else that maybe can hear something. And you've seen it many times with us.
Many times.
So we'll see something and say, oh my God, or a song on the radio. How many times has that happened in the car? That we can relate to, that we know that they would know if they wanted to contact us. So I believe everybody is psychic. We are. But not everybody knows that. And you have to kind of, not even necessarily train yourself, but just be aware that maybe you can do this. I think anybody can, but it takes a certain amount, obviously, of concentration.
I've seen
and
you many
meditation.
times ask Aldo for a sign that he's with us, and then all of a sudden, Sweet Caroline would come on
Which
the
was my
radio,
daughter's name, yes,
Yeah.
in the past, right.
and or her initials would come on a license plate, as you said.
Right, and you saw that from right
Yeah.
in the very beginning.
I don't mind telling you, at first it was kind of scary.
That's fine. I mean, for me
But
too.
it's an entirely part of my life at this point.
You think you were scared. How do you think I felt when all this was happening to me? Absolutely. But, you know, in time, and as you begin to accept it more, I still have that moment when anything happens, and I've been doing this for a while. I love that validation. And Aldo, people that know me, that have been listening to my story, who was my guide here, he used to say, just don't be surprised. It's, you know, he'll say, naturally, this will happen. But to me, I still, the validation is amazing. It's absolutely amazing, especially when I'm giving someone a message and I get the name, even the last name, or something that they did and they absolutely saw. It's a wonderful feeling. For me, it's a wonderful feeling.
So I have tried numerous times to summon up some people that I've lost, my son, my parents, and nothing seems to bring a message to me from them. Is there something that I'm doing wrong?
Steve, I can't believe that you're answering that way, asking me that question. How many times have I given you messages? I'm your instrument to give you the messages from...
No, but I mean, like, you get messages from Aldo.
But I've given you messages from your son. Think
Okay.
back. I don't always remember. I've given you messages about a lot of your family. See, sometimes, and this is a good example. We don't always.
It's my bad, but I'm talking when I'm alone.
Well, that's for you to decipher at this point, because you know that they're around you. For anybody that's going through this, if you hear something in your head, you can ask me, because we're together, so you can do that. But for anybody that's having that same experience, just listen to your inner voice, your inner self, and it's usually the first thing that will pop up in your head. And you may, if you're trying to contact somebody or you're aware they're trying to contact you, you may just switch the TV on and you'll see what you were thinking about will be right there because you've seen it. So to tell people that maybe aren't aware of that, become aware of your surroundings, become aware that you might you hear a song on the radio, which you've heard. Yes, I admittedly, a lot of the songs have been from basically my daughter with Sweet Caroline. But we all can do this if we just be aware of what may be happening around us.
Yeah, I mean, you know, there's one way I know that I could bring my son into the forefront, but since it's just the two of us, we don't use the dishwasher. We wash the dishes by hand. I'm certain that if we used the dishwasher, I would open it up and the dishes would be put in the wrong direction because he would do that just to get under my skin.
Well, that's a very good example. I didn't know that, but we don't use a dishwasher. But that's between you and him, so you would understand that. And since we're talking on the air, you know, and we have discussed this, that there are many people listening right now that suddenly that might bring home to them something, or they might just find a picture of the person that they're thinking about just from, it can happen from nowhere. They suddenly open something and there is an article that maybe you had shared together. So really, I guess to get the point across to people is that just be very, very aware of your surroundings. It happens many times to us because we're together and I've had many signs, but to anybody, if you're not aware, you don't know what to be, you're not going to see it. Open your mind a little bit to people, and I think you will find a lot of the answers are there from that person or whomever.
I think.
Sally, I had a death recently, last week, of an individual in my sister's life. Not so much in mine, but in hers. Any messages come forward that maybe he delivered?
Well, and I don't know how accurate from my point of view that this is, but I've often felt that they need, like, though there's no time on the other side, there is a resting period. So for me personally, if I'm giving a message, and it happened, I think it was sudden. Was it sudden? Yeah. Or what? That's what I'm feeling.
I don't. It's sudden as far as them telling me. I don't know how long Frankie suffered.
Okay, so I'm feeling sudden, but the reason that I'm saying this is that I myself, because I feel that way, I feel that we need to give the person time to adjust. And when it suddenly happened, and I believe it was a sudden passing, it's my way of just the respect for that person. And I may be wrong, I don't know, but I just feel that. But however, I do feel that he is going to communicate. But again, there's no time, but give this a little time. Even next week or 2 weeks from now, maybe even on the air, Freddie, or we talk, here in the studio, I will be more inclined to be able to communicate with him. And that's probably me that's getting in the way a little bit, but I just feel that there's an adjustment time, because I know we have, from what I hear, and it's not just me, but people say there's a life review and there's this and that. So if it's suddenly someone passes, especially, I feel that he had been ill, but I don't think, and I'm not sure, that anybody was expecting the death, if that makes sense to you. But it was all in the correct timing, if that helps you a little bit. I believe we have many exits that we choose to pass, and it was his time. That's what I'm hearing very much. It was his time. Although it was sudden for people, maybe not for his family, but for people that knew him to read about his passing. He's feeling that they were surprised. They didn't realize that he was going to be that sick, if that makes sense to them.
It does, because Frankie was never looked at, and he's never been sick. He was never sick, and this was a come and go from what they told me. I didn't know. I don't know how far back, but it must have been a while, because he died in hospice. So
I feel that it was, so he was aware that he was passing, but I think the time, it's hard because we have different timing here. There is no time.
Right.
So we're here and we think we've been here for years. Actually, the passing of this lifetime is very fast. We're not here that long. So just be aware that he's settling in. That's what I feel. He's settling in. But he's perfectly happy. He's out of pain. That's what I definitely feel. But we get that from nearly everybody that talks to us. So just, we will talk again about, and I would love you to, and I think he's actually telling me to do that, talk again in what we call a few weeks from now. There'll be more. It may be me blocking it slightly.
okay.
I think Brianna might have had a question also.
Hello.
Come on, I'll give you my mic.
Because it seems like you're more into the medium side of it, right? Is there a big difference between a medium and a psychic?
No, I receive messages, but I channel. So if that would be a difference. I get a lot of messages about what's going on in the world. Not so much, I can do personal messages too, but mainly my talking is what's going on around us and what's happening, and many things like even aliens that I will talk about. So
Oh, wow.
Out of body, yeah.
Because I don't have any close deaths that
No,
I feel would channel me.
Yeah.
But if you do like general readings,
General.
or energy readings, or what I'm interested in.
Okay, so if you have a question, if not, maybe another 5 or 10 minutes, something might come to you. But yes, I never know what questions I'm going to get on my show, and I know you're new to my show and new to me meeting you. I can talk on any subject. It's not basically me talking. I'm talking through my collective.
Okay.
And I'm not always aware that after the show of what I've talked about, so that to me that's a validation of what I'm doing, because I don't know all these answers.
Is there anything
myself.
that jumps out to you from my energy, or anything that comes forward directly?
Right now, because I work with questions, so if there's a question that you want to ask me,
okay.
yeah.
Does Brianna have a guide?
We all have guides, so yes, to let you know that, and that might be very much on your mind. No, it's okay. You have a guide. You have several guides. We all do. But I'm here basically to just give you a little bit of the background of what I do. I just believe anybody can do this. We just need to open our minds up a little bit and believe that. I mean, that's going out to a lot of people right now. I myself personally work very well with questions. Any question, they come in. It may not just be one particular person, it could be another, or we all have many people, many guides. I've had a lot of validation about what I do in my work. But I was
And
open
who is
and
the
ready.
guide to us? Is the guide an ancestor of mine, or is the guide just a random
Well,
spirit?
we come down, again, when we come here, we have like a soul family, a group of people, and that's a good question because I can generalize it a little bit too. So we meet many people here that we've known in other lifetimes. I'm not sure if you're aware of other lifetimes, but I truly believe that. So we stay together, and it could be maybe 50, 60, it could be 100 people, it could be 200. But some of them, in answer to the question, stay on what I would call the other side of the veil. But they haven't left us. They're here to guide us in a different way. I was lucky enough to have one of my guides actually show himself in this lifetime. He was here in physicality. But that doesn't always happen. But they still guide us. So as long as you're open and you're aware, or even, you know, I often say fake it till you make it type of thing. Believe that there's somebody there, even if you don't. You will see signs. And many
But you
things
have that
happen.
many guides? Every person has that many guides?
Yes.
And when they guide you, are they all in the same direction?
No, we have guides for many different things. I mean, I opened up and I didn't know because I was astral projecting, and I met them through what I would call dreams at that time. And one of my guides, not the one that was here, that was Aldo, introduced himself to me. I thought I was going crazy because it was like a dream to me. And he said, I will be working with you. And this is personal. This happened to me, absolutely. He said, but I'm going to give you, and he gives me a lady. He introduces a lady to me. He said, she's going to work more with you than me because she had a very similar lifetime on this world here, on this earth.
A lady, physical lady?
No, in spirit. In
Spiritual
spirit,
lady.
yes. And he showed me the lady. And he said to me, she's known me. She was watching over me, and her life was very similar to mine in another lifetime when she was here. Kind of like an apprenticeship she was doing. I thought I was going crazy. I asked Aldo, and I told him because I was astral projecting. And he said, yes, you met both of them. So I said, well, then why didn't he want to work with me? He was kind of like, is he very male chauvinist? I wanted to be polite. He said, no, it's okay. You can say what you like to him. That's all right. I'm only going personally. This happened to me. He said, but the woman that he was working with could relate more because she'd had a lifetime very similar to me. So that was my answer. I absolutely saw this. I know I did.
So tell me more about this lady. I have never heard of this lady before.
I am not even, I think I know her name, but she shows up, she's guiding me, but she's not, why am I saying this? Because in answer to, I believe the question was, we have different people specific things. So let's say we're talking here now and we all have individual questions. They're listening, and the question that maybe someone else sitting there may not be able to, that might be sitting with me right now that we don't see, somebody else in the group, they have groups like this, they'll call them over to answer the question. I know this sounds very strange.
So let me get this right. Dawn has a lot of guides?
We all have a lot of guides, Freddie, you know that.
Do Dawn's guides fight with one another?
They don't fight because they look at things, to make this more normal here, they look at things, when we do a life review on the other side too.
There's a
and that's-
reason I'm asking you this.
Okay, do they fight with each other? No, they don't necessarily fight, but they can call in somebody else if they
But hold
can't
on, hold
answer the
on.
question.
Our mental thinking
Okay,
is a reflection of their guiding.
what we're thinking, a mental thinking?
In other words, if I got 60 people guiding me and they are not in agreement, or they have their own voice of opinion, or whatever, all at the same time, is
Okay.
that going to create chaos?
No, that's a really good question because as human beings sitting in this world and we have time and we have space and we don't actually see these people, I understand that question. However, they understand it, but they work very differently. There's not all this backwards and forwards, the bickering. If they don't know everything, depending where they are on their dimension. So if I ask, or you ask, or someone asks, and I'm the instrument that's giving the answer through them, they'll bring in somebody else.
Somebody else.
Sitting in the group, on the other side of the veil.
Where are they bringing these somebody
They're
else's
there.
from?
It's hard. You know, we're humans, okay, and it's hard to understand. but they manifest another person, if they don't know, will be sitting there. Let's use it as we would do here, with the same terminology of how we work, okay, in the same kind of atmosphere. They can create that atmosphere. I need them very much to help me right now. They create that, okay? So if there's a question that you're asking me and the person that is talking to me, just like you're talking to me now, does not have the answer, that's a collective who will come in that does have the answer. Does that make sense?
So then,
and it's instantaneously because there is no time.
so now I have a question. I'm sorry. So then, what role do these guides have in adversities, like when something bad happens to you, whether it's getting a toxic person out of your life or suffering an economic loss or suffering, well, not a death because a death is already a spiritual thing, but like material earth things, like fighting with a friend or getting fired from a job. Like,
okay.
What role do your guides play in that?
Okay, we have free will. Having said all this, we have what we call free will. So ultimately, we still have the last decision on what we do. Now, if they see something going on, that might have been, I know it sounds silly, that fight or whatever it is. And I often say a negative can be turned into a positive. So if we don't necessarily see the outcome of that. They can. But we can also change our outcome because we have free will. So if something is happening and you're arguing with somebody or they're trying to get a point across and you're not listening, that's up to us. But that's there for a reason. That argument has happened for a reason. That person is there. This is really difficult, and it's kind of easy but difficult to understand, but also extremely important, because anything that happens in our life, and they're very much with me right now, anything that happens is not coincidental. So if you feel that your life is going in the wrong direction and you personally feel that, talk to them, because it can be changed. We have different timelines and it can be changed on a different timeline. But just know, even if people are hurting or they're sick or they're ill, it's hard to say there's a reason why you're going through this illness. But if for nothing else, it helps to know that maybe there's a reason. This is a very important subject, and maybe next time we'll have another show.
Well, I got a question. You know, there's a saying that somebody has an older spirit. So Brianna, to me, the sense I get is that she has an older spirit that guides her.
We could call many people old souls.
Okay.
Okay, and that's the terminology that
What
I'm
does
an
that
old
mean?
soul. It doesn't necessarily mean that you've come back from thousands of years on this earth. It means that your journey is graduating, so you're understanding more. Some people come in with a lot of memory of where they've been and who they were in other lifetimes. If that happens, I would probably say to that person, as Aldo was, who from 1 year old understood a lot of this, he was an old soul. It doesn't mean that he's been incarnated many, many times on this earth, which is our way of thinking. He's come in learning very fast because he still has memory. So when people talk about an old soul, it means that they have memory of what may have happened in other lifetimes or where they've been.
I think with you, there's clear evidence that happened with you. I mean, much of your early artwork, which can be found in your book, Call Me Zena, which can be bought by scanning the QR code, shows periods of life centuries ago and civilizations, different civilizations that you could not possibly have drawn had you not been there in some way, shape, or form.
That's
Is that
right,
true?
because actually it was dormant. We all have a memory, but as Alda had explained it to me, who was my guide here, that it goes into like lower down into your consciousness, so it's harder sometimes to bring it up. But if you remember, I brought up a lot of that through my artwork, not knowing what I was drawing. I was drawing signs, symbols, buildings of many centuries ago. I'd not seen them in this lifetime. So I was going deeper into a super consciousness, I believe he used to call that, but it's the same thing. It was just drawing that up from a past memory, which is still there. Everything
It seems to me, from an outsider looking in, that you seem to have a lot of people attached to you, including present company, who are old souls. And I'm trying to figure out the definition of where that's coming from.
Okay.
I mean, people may use it loosely. People may use it not knowing what even it really means. But there's a difference.
Yeah, I'm
There's an
getting a really
edge.
good answer to that, Freddie. And actually, we were talking about that the other day because I meet, especially in the cafe here, people say, I feel like I've known you all my life.
I
Or
saw that the other day.
every single person that seems to have it, we get attracted to one another. So what it actually is, they call it sometimes the law of attraction, but that can mean many things. But if you're on a slightly higher vibrational energy, and it's, you know, people that aren't, it doesn't matter. It's not a good or bad thing. We're on a learning path. I am, or you are, and we've seen it many times in the cafe. We're attracting people on a slightly higher vibrational energy. We don't always stay there, but for the instant that you meet someone, because they're coming in here, I'm not, you're bringing them in here. Maybe I am if I'm here, but we'll recognize each other, even if we don't know. If you think about it, the amount of people that have said to me, Sally, I feel like I've known you, have put their arms around me, and we've exchanged, you know, whatever it is. It's so, like we're meeting again. This isn't, I'm not imagining it. We were talking about how many people are drawn to each other. It's not just me, but we're drawn both ways, that we've met in other lifetimes. Yes, we can call that an old soul.
But then my question then relates back. Are those spirit guys speaking to one another? Is the spirit guys that all formulate from the same tree, so to speak?
I would say that yes. Most of them are actually, because this isn't everything, even with you being in the cafe here right now and asking questions, this isn't, we plan our lives. Again, I want to stress that we have free will, we can change it. However, we plan this. They are ahead of the game, if you want to say, because it is a game, having some idea what we're going to be talking about on who is here, because we don't know because we're on a lower vibrational energy, but they do because they're higher. Not everybody, they also have vibrational energy where they are too, but the higher ones, as I'm talking here now, up there, will bring in the people that don't completely understand it, even on the other side. So none of this is coincidental. None of these questions are coincidental.
Well, look, today was National Parfait Day, and we happened to have this company in that did ice creams with young adults who have disabilities. I did not plan that whatsoever. I knew they were coming in.
Synchronicity is there.
Right? Until I saw it on our computer screen that it made perfect sense that they were here. But at the time, we were just trying to figure out how the show was going to flow.
Okay, I'm going to give you it's synchronicity. You'll
Yeah.
see more and more when you raise your vibration. Not everybody's ready to do that, but we are here because we're believing. So you can raise that vibrational energy, and the more you raise it, the more you're going to bring people in on that same vibration. Well, if they're on a higher vibration, they are somewhere actually recognizing you.
How do you raise it?
How do
you raise it?
Well, there's many different ways. I mean, first of all, we're on a journey. So raising, I believe very much in being positive. We can still be negative, but look at the outcome that could be positive, to put a negative there. So as long as you go around, and it's not easy, because the world itself is not easy right now, but try to remain as positive as you can when you see even a difficult situation. And gradually, it's little by little that this happens. Although I believe everything is happening all at once, but little by little on our journey, that you will gradually see more things to validate what you're thinking about. Synchronicity will be there. I don't think it happens when you're on constantly on a low vibration. And the way I say that is people saying, and it's a good way of explaining it, I'm having a bad day. I don't even like to say that because I'm having a good day. Okay, spirits, I'm having a good day. This is an example. That day will continue until you change your mind and say, you know what? I see why that happened. I'm going to have a good day. But you've got to kind of believe it from there onwards. And you will start attracting people that same day or something you read that will help you raise that vibrational energy. It's really important. And I think we're going to have a break, which I probably read right now because I need it myself. They're really coming to me very strongly right now. And I'll see you on the other side of this commercial. Thank you. story starts at 4 or 5 years old. My name is Sally Barnard, and I was born at the end of the Second World War, in the middle of an air raid siren going off. My parents were in a movie theater, and my mother went into labor. My father ran out of the movie theater, but there was no cabs to be available because everybody is running for cover. However, they found one, and the taxi driver was given the address to take my father and my mother to the hospital. As my mother was in labor, about a half an hour, I arrived at exactly midnight. I think I was fed messages at a very early age. My parents used to like to play cards, and they had a card game every Wednesday or Thursday night at home when I was a baby. And I actually said to them one day, "Why do you keep waking me up at night? The card game is waking me up, and I can't get back to sleep so quickly." And they looked at each other and they said, "We're not really waking her up." They were quite away from my bedroom. And they called in a psychic to say, "What in the world is going on?" And the psychic said that I'm getting many messages that are waking me up at night. I thought whatever I was experiencing, other people were experiencing too. You don't know until you realize that you are different. Many things were happening to me, things that were unexplainable to me. What I had dreamt was happening. I could sense many things, and the things that I was sensing were coming about, but something was going on. I will explain to you everything. You're ready.
A True Story, Call Me Zena is the telling of Sally Barnard. Born in London, England at the end of the Second World War, she came into the U.S. in 1979. A mother of 2 and a grandmother of 4, she settled in Florida and worked in real estate. While going through a difficult time in her life, she was admitted into a hospital overnight in December of 2005. While settling back into her life, she began having vivid dreams and documenting them. By the 3rd dream, a lady gave her a message to draw. With no artistic background or interest into art or history, Sally listened to her dreams and grabbed a paper and crayons. Today, she has over 150 pieces of inspiring art and poetry. This book follows her journey and interpretations of these messages. She describes in detail how she is able to astral a project and who she has met along her travels, including her spirit guides. This book will show you how anything is possible with an open mind. These events have changed Sally's life and direction, and this book will show you how to change yours. Purchase Call Me Zena on Amazon today, authorhouse.com and amazon.com.
Thank you for joining me through this journey of self-discovery with the help of my spirit guides. I'm Sally Barnard, and you can find my book at authorhouse and amazon.com, or visit my art on my clothing in my boutique at artbysallybarnard.com. Now back to the show. Hi, welcome back. We were just having a really interesting discussion just now. Do you want to elaborate a little bit? Maybe we'll talk about it, Freddie? Or?
Well, we're talking about how meeting people have this calling, like an energy piece. And when you look over, I look over, I see Jay everywhere I go now. I see his paintings. I see and I didn't meet Jay. I met Jay through his wife, who I knew at Weight Watchers. And then and she's passed on, and I met Jay for the last 7 years. We've had this bond. There isn't anything that Jay has never done that I've asked him to do, and then some, including doing shows and everything else, going to some of the events. It's just always there. Like, you look over, and there's Jay. And I know he's always there.
And that's a really good answer to the question, is why, we meet people, and they will continue too, Jay being one. I mean, even we got into a previous life, Jay, right? I was able to tell you who you were, and the validation was the guy was a pencil artist, because they're doing their best to help us. They're also doing their best to bring people together that of that higher vibrational energy. It's going to work a lot easier for them. And I need to say this too. If we are aware that maybe this happens, don't have to completely believe it, but when you're aware of it, the synchronicity just happens because we are energy. So you will meet or see something, which we were just talking about before, that, oh my gosh, look at that. I mean, the most incredible thing happened to me yesterday. I think it's one of the most incredible things that ever happened, which I'll mention in a minute. But I'm still in awe of what happens to me, and I do understand a lot of this, because it even gets more, I'm going to say, I don't want to say crazy, but it's more validation that you think these things, just when I think nothing else could really happen, something happened. Actually, it was this morning. That was just, I guess everybody's interested now in knowing what happened, okay? So, all right, I'll just give you an example of that. I am in tune, especially as I'm coming to the cafe. I know I'm going to be doing my show. So I'm losing track of it because, okay, Aldo lived with me for many years, my guide that was here, and he was in the back of the house in a bedroom, and I'm in the front of the house. No, it's the other way around. However, during the period of time that we were together, there was a bird outside my window. It wasn't there all the time, but it used to make the most awful noise, like a scream. It'd go, ah, ah, I have to give this part of the story. And it would keep me up, not only me, but all my neighbors on that side of the house. So much so, it was so bad, he actually moved my bed into the third bedroom, and there was no bed, so that I could sleep, because I couldn't sleep. So why am I saying this? He was very aware of this bird. It left after 2 or 3 months, but it would keep you up at night, not just me, everybody. It was awful. Well, I went to bed last night, and I heard the bird. And I'm going crazy. I'm going, Aldo, I'm talking to Aldo. What do I do? I'm not going to sleep. I have a show in the morning. I'm having this long conversation with him. Well, the bird continued, but I said to myself, I got a little fan that cuts out a certain amount of noise. So I turned my fan on, put earplugs in my ear, which I'm putting a scarf around me to block the noise out. Eventually, I fell asleep. But Aldo was aware of this, I'm certain. I said to myself this morning, I need to buy another fan. I'm going into Amazon, so if I have 2 fans, it might block the noise out because it's probably going to be there tonight. I go into Amazon, I turn it on, and I see something in my cart. I haven't touched it. I go into my cart and there's a fan. Well, I mean, we can look at this many ways that I forgot.
Where was the bird?
Outside.
Outside my house, not in my house, but he was.
Oh, there was a bird outside your house at 1 o'clock in the morning?
Yeah.
Oh, it's terrible. You heard it.
Yeah.
It
this
screams.
You sure that wasn't you?
It was
No,
a
no,
very,
I had
very
it
loud
for about.
bird. In
I had it
fact,
for 2 or 3
Sally
months.
went to sleep before I did, and I heard the bird, and I worried that it was going to keep Sally up.
Is it an owl?
No,
No,
it's an
I
endangered
don't even know what
species.
it
They can't move it. It will fly away, but it flies back to the same spot. But why I'm telling the story is that Aldo knew of this because he actually had experienced it here, but he's passed now. So somehow, I mean, it's incredible. I go into my Amazon to look for a fan, and I see one in my cart. In other words, I have an item in my cart. I didn't put it in there. I know I didn't put it in there. It's a fan.
I'll go put a fan in her car.
End of story.
So wait a minute. So
End
you
of story.
finding a fan in your Amazon cart amazing, yet this bird comes out of nowhere.
Oh, no, other people experience it. It just happens to sit outside my house. But this is, the last 2 years.
This bird has been around forever?
It just happens
yeah,
to sit outside her house.
It's not, it does happen. A lot
And
of
it
people
decided
have it.
to sing last night?
No, it shrieks. But this bird's
It
are
shrieks
well
when you
known
live
for
in
making a lot
Africa?
of noise. So it's some sort of calling that they have. They come in, but
It
it
was
It's
happens.
there
ama-
even
it's
before I was
amazing.
in the picture.
Yeah,
It's
but that's really not.
That ain't helping them.
No, this
It's
is
a
weird.
mating call. It's
check.
mating.
Yes,
The
but
bird
it
is?
decides to do it outside
Yes,
the
it's
house
mating.
and along all my neighbors' homes.
Yes, it takes a long
And
time.
it goes back to the same place every single day. It'll go away.
Feed
but
it.
It'll take. No, then it'll keep returning even when it's not meant to be there. Unless
Is it a
there's
crow?
No, I've looked it up. Freddie asked me something
Is it a
else.
blackbird?
Please, no. Please ask
it
me
a
another.
bluebird?
Dawn.
Let's sing
Dawn.
Bye Bye
Okay, let me
Blackbird.
ask you a
Dawn,
question.
ask me a question.
Can the bird be a guide?
That
Can
was
the
my
bird be a
next
guide?
question. I was leading up to that.
Probably is.
Maybe it's Aldo in a tree telling you, yo.
No. Okay.
No, the bird was there
I am going
before
to-
Aldo
Oh, is there?
transitioned.
Okay, ask me something different other than the bird. It was to end
I'm
this.
going to
It
ask
was
you something
amazing.
else. All right,
Okay.
so we're having a foundation fundraiser on December 13th. What does your collective say we should be doing to get ready for, or how it's going to go?
Well, basically, get the word out. I would say that even if I wasn't in this trance, which you are doing. And it's word of mouth for the people that are coming in. It's going to be good. You're going to have a lot of people here. I mean, we had a lot of people the other day. There must have been about 60, 70 people in here. It will work the same way, absolutely. And you guys are good at getting the word out, and it's happening.
You think we're on the right path?
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, absolutely. You're on the
Do you think Dawn is going to have a nervous breakdown before
Dawn
it's
is
over?
not going to have a nervous breakdown. She's in complete free will of what she wants to do, and that is not in your path, okay?
How does one donate to this fundraiser?
That's a good question.
So
yes.
ampfutures.org will take you to our donation link, and you can donate right there. And actually, we have our Fund Our Futures digital wall coming. Hopefully next week we should have that.
Digital wall.
A digital wall.
She threw me off with that too. It's a
So just know that it's going to work. It's going to help a lot of people, and a lot of people listening in to look out for all the ads that you're putting out. I think a lot are on Facebook, correct? It'll be there, and it's going to be very successful. And it's one of many. Actually, I'm hearing that. It's one of many, because this one will lead to another one. And it'll not only be where you're doing it now, it's going to be going around. You're going to be doing this in various different places. That's what I'm feeling, too.
I think so.
Changing the subject, getting back to energy and everything that you were talking about before. This question is for Dawn and Freddie, actually. In the 2 years that Sally's been here, do you find that the energy level has increased dramatically?
oh my God, yeah.
And
It's not even funny. It's not even close. Not even a comparison. It's like she walked in and she brought all of these characters.
The
and all of
spiritual
this.
world has come with you.
Even the statue came in after her, didn't it?
It's like she's the mother duck. You hear all these little ducklings come in, they follow Sally in the spiritual world.
You
Well,
know,
I'm happy to hear that, because I want to spread my message. I
well, it's
really
funny
do.
because until Friday, I thought I was hallucinating. And then I see you and this other one is crying, and then she's crying over there, and then she's crying over here. And I'm like, what the hell? Because I guess they get to a certain point, and then they get over
Because
the point, they
they're
get
actually
emotional.
what's happening, and even the question they're asking me is coming from their higher vibration. It's not just me at this point, because you can transfer that, but you've got to have, so to speak, the components within you to even understand that. We can, but they have to have some knowledge, because you're suddenly not going to say, raise, as you did, how do you raise your vibration? But the curiosity on raising it shows me that you have the interest, because you wouldn't have asked that question. So it's the same thing. And I am, and no, it's not just me, it's you guys. You're putting people that have no idea why they even showed up. We had some people in the parking lot, right, that said they were surprised they came in here, but they knew they would.
And they
You're
wouldn't
drawing
leave.
people
And they
in.
wouldn't leave. And they wouldn't leave.
And they wouldn't leave. And we had, which I think we mentioned one time on the show, when these two gentlemen, I always say men in black, because those people were wearing black, came in, and we sat in the other office there. And I was able to talk to them at their level. They didn't know who I was.
Do you know that those two that came in have never come back?
That's what I'm saying. That can happen too, but there was a
I know what she's talking
purpose.
about.
There absolutely, and I've kind of figured out a lot of that, and you were there to witness it, Steve, as you guys were too. There was a purpose. That was the timing that they needed to come in. Whether it was curiosity, whether it was a message that they were giving me, because they really didn't at the first even
They were
want to
totally
include
shocked
me.
at how much you knew. They
Right.
couldn't fathom the fact that someone such as you, a woman, would know all
Yeah,
of
that's
this.
my other guide, the male chauvinist telling you to say that.
Sally, I have another question.
Sure.
Can a place have energy in itself? Like, can a place have good or bad energy? Or do the
Beautiful.
people that occupy it fill it with energy?
I love that question. Yes, it's a very good question. Yes, because we leave imprints. And especially if you're in a place for a long, even on that chair that you're sitting, when you get up, there's an imprint on that chair. So somebody that may be psychic or has an empath, as I am, is going to feel, if you're in a happy mood, they will feel happy, but they don't know why. Does that work in reverse too? Yes, if there's a bad energy there, when you walk into a home or sit on a chair or wherever you are, the atmosphere, you're going to feel, especially if you're an empath, which will feel energy, you're not going to feel comfortable. And that happens when you meet people too, because you can meet someone and they can have no fault of their own, it's where they are. I'm not here to criticize people, but they are transmitting a lower vibrational energy. If you feel that, you are usually right. On the other hand, if someone is happy, you're going to feel that too.
So what do you do if you feel off kilter?
So if
What do you
mean,
do if your energy it's not alignment. You feel things in a space, or you feel things with a person, and you know you're an empath, or you're not taking it in, but you're just feeling the vibration. How do you stop that?
You actually are taking it in. So what would you do? Let's just say, like, really, if it's really common sense in a way, that you're feeling bad energy from someone. Do you want to continue feeling that energy, especially if you can feel it? So what would be the most obvious thing if you think about it? And this is what they're telling me. You can walk away. Now, it's not always easy, but you don't have to walk away angry. You just honestly do need to walk away, be it maybe for half an hour and go back into the room, and maybe that person isn't there, or maybe their energy has gotten differently. If it continues to bother you, my answer to that would be get in your car and go somewhere else. Because it's not against that person necessarily. They may not even realize they're doing it, but it's not going to help you because it will transfer to you. Because you can feel that. But if you recognize it, you're halfway there anyway.
So the other day we were in here Friday after we had a lot of people on Thursday. A lot of energies stay in a space. Everything started spilling. The black beans were on the floor, the cookies were on the floor, something else was on the floor.
Everything started spilling that she touched.
Yes.
Not anybody else.
Yeah.
Because then I said to her, why don't you just sit?
Okay, that's a good example. Because you were aware of something keeping on happening. It's like staying in a lower or higher vibration. So when you immediately pick something else up, you're going to say, this, even if you're doing it subconsciously, this is going to fall on the floor.
And it did.
And guess what? It will fall on the
Sally,
floor.
if this was an ice skating rink, and the only one who keeps tripping and falling
Would be
is
me.
her.
It would be me too.
But the one that shouldn't be ice skating is Dawn. And I said to her, just sit.
And that was
And
good
things
advice.
won't spill. No, she didn't listen to that advice. She went
Well,
into this zone of
Dawn, that's a
going
lesson that you
crazy.
need to be learning
Beans
here.
spilled,
but
the soda
yeah.
spilled, the cookies spilled,
Well, there's
everything I
an,
touched
isn't that a
spilled.
good answer to the
She dropped
question?
them. She dropped them. She dropped
It's
them.
basically
was the
exactly what
next
we're
day.
talking about, because the energy spills up, literally spills over to the next person, perhaps in that same space. Was it more or less always roundabout? Yeah, there
On
you
the
go.
So
exact
then let me
same
ask
space.
you this. Shouldn't she learn from the fact that if it happens once, then don't do it again. Stop. And
Well-
change your ways so that it doesn't happen again and again and again.
No,
and
because there
again.
might have been a lesson there, but also if it's in a particular space,
Stop
my
cleaning the
idea, it's
refrigerator.
like walking away from someone that has bad energy.
Just
You're
do-
an empath. You walk out of that space. Get up and say, I think we need to sage it or whatever, and walk over to this
Yeah,
part of the room.
sometimes you have to sit and let it pass.
Freddie, actually, how many people ever learn that they can walk away from something and
That's-
stop
that's-
doing something?
Well, it's a very good lesson to be.
You gotta have
where
that
you
confidence.
have to do that if you
Well, it's
want
a great
peace of-
lesson to learn.
Absolutely.
You know,
It doesn't
sometimes
happen
less
instantly.
is more.
Yes, that's right. That's right. Less is more. An example of that. Let's think of something.
I knew a guy named Les Moore.
You totally throw me off. My guides actually,
Bada bing.
they're walking away right now. They're going, oh my goodness me.
But yes,
That-
it was all in the exact same space.
Yes, because it's like this person. So what would you do if the person is standing there and the space is there? Get out of that space. It may be just to go in another room. I had that example with Alda because we did share a place for many, many years. And I don't care how spiritual you are, you're still human in a human body, and you are going to lose your temper, and there's something going on. So, okay, so sometimes he would annoy me. We weren't a couple, but we were good friends. And I just, especially when he was eating sometimes.
He annoyed you?
Yes, he did. And he would get
Your
up. And
guide
you know what was
annoyed
even
you?
more annoying to me? He would get up. We didn't eat together that often. But
I
he would
can
get
see
up and go
why.
in the other room. I'm going, this is even more infuriating. So now I can't even talk to him. But when he calmed down and he said, I have to, and I see it today, leave that energy. I have to get out of there. It could be 10 minutes, it could be an hour. But that was a learning lesson for me. Because to me, it was more annoying. You're having an argument with someone and they get up and leave the room.
So let me get this right. He annoyed you, and then you got double annoyed because he got up to...
Sure, wouldn't you? Anybody.
No, I wouldn't.
I'm talking
But you-
to you and you just get up and leave the room.
That's the story of my life.
Didn't you make him go out and cook for himself in the
I
garage?
did, yes, because he used to. He was
Boy, that's not
from
annoying.
Peru,
That's just wow.
And he put all spices and the whole. Especially if it was company coming over, the place would smell. So
But he came to guide you in life, and you told him to cook in the garage.
that was just a
Like, my savior comes to save me,
Dawn.
put me on a path.
It could be worse. He could take off his shoes and his
Let me
feet
explain
stink.
myself, please. No, he was very nice, and 99% of the time we absolutely did get along because he taught me so much. But he used to sometimes like to cook very spicy. He was from Peru. And I don't know, maybe they were more spicy and the smells were stronger than how I cooked. One time I was
You
expecting
put him in the
something-
garage, Sally.
No, he had a hot plate in there. It was very
Sally,
pleasant.
you put him in the garage.
I'm not going to
And
witness.
that is
Aldo.
why today he keeps stealing your earrings.
Yeah, he does. They keep coming. They fall off me. when
Sally,
he's
if there's a
around.
hot plate in your Amazon cart tonight, I'm done. Like, mic drop.
Or spices.
Or the spices.
Spices. Yeah, I'll look in a minute. Yeah, that was very weird. That didn't happen very often. He was happy to
It
be
happened
out
more
there.
than once? Wow.
Aldo, please help me out.
It happened more than once?
He felt more happy to be out there and not making all this in the kitchen. He liked it. He had a beautiful hot plate out
He
there.
liked to cook in the garage.
No, maybe twice he did this. Twice.
He liked it, you said.
Aldo, please help me. Give
All
him
right, let me ask
something.
you a question
Thank you,
about
thank you.
traveling.
Yeah.
He passed away.
He passed away.
He's no longer here.
He's my guy. No, it's
He's
okay.
calling in right now.
He's calling Sally.
Brianna,
Yeah,
just so
yeah.
you know, he is always with us. There's always signs that Aldo has been here.
It's in my book. It's in my
So if a
book.
painting comes down off that wall,
No, he's not going to do anything to scare us.
he doesn't do anything that's
if
great.
it's-
Sometimes their spirit just is so great, things happen.
Well, I talked to him the other day. He does answer through a little plug in the wall, doesn't he?
Yeah. Yeah,
Back to this again.
yeah, yeah.
I'm probably going to
Blinking of the
lose.
lights.
Maybe believe
I'm
it.
either going to gain a lot more viewers, or I'm going to lose a whole lot.
Or you're going to get a whole lot new type of viewers.
Yes.
They have
Bugs
Morse
out.
He
code.
flickers. The
lights flicker.
Steve, please, you know this happens. I'll talk to him and the light flickers. It's
Yes.
like a little round thing, it's oblong actually. And he flickers, the light goes on and off when I talk to him.
Before this, I had such a simple life revolving around sports and food, and now I have
Well, there you go.
spirits.
Now you have Aldo.
Dawn, what were you going to ask me?
When when I have these new dreams, I know that I think it's traveling, but then I think maybe not. But I'm always in the same. It always takes me to the same place. It always takes me to Israel.
Okay. So I know we had a little conversation about this and also the other day because it's a recurring dream. I believe we have recurring dreams. We can travel there. It's not just a dream because I need to ask you a question. Do you remember a lot of details from that? It doesn't.
It's
okay.
always the wall in Jerusalem. It's always the old temple.
Okay, I believe actually now that I'm definitely thinking about it, it's a previous life since I'm there right now. It is a previous life, and I think I mentioned the word Exodus to you. It's what happened in the I don't know, I can't seem to think about it, but it was in the 40s, right? That everybody went and emigrated, tried to
To
get
Israel.
into Israel, yeah. And there was a movie about, I should know because of my religion, but you were there. And I don't know, the Wailing Wall is what you see.
Always.
And oh my gosh, this is so way out, so I don't know. But if you do go to, have you been to Israel? You leave a message in the Wailing Wall, that much I do know. There's a message in there, which I don't know when the Wailing Wall went up, if it would have been when they got there. But there's a message that you put in that wall. And I'm bringing tears to me because I can see it. So you were there. You're going, there was unsettled business. It may have been with a person, a place, or a thing, I don't know. But you will continue for a while to have this dream. It's very similar to me when I started astral projecting. I went back to places and I saw people that I needed to have in this lifetime. So you're bringing something in, and the message that you put in the wall, and I don't know what it is, it's, and I'm having a feeling that your grandfather has something to do with this.
Maybe. I
How
don't know.
old would your grandfather have been? How do you?
Oh my gosh, he passed away in his 80s, and that was 25 years ago.
Okay, so he has something to do with this. I don't know what the message is, and it's something.
Have
I
you ever
think
been
it's
to the
about
Wailing
pe-
Wall?
You
Yeah.
have. Okay, so did you put a message in there in this lifetime? That helps.
Sure.
Okay, I'm
I
thinking
don't
back.
remember what the message was.
Okay,
so-
have you any idea what this message was?
I'm sure it was
Okay,
about
that-
a general.
Okay, this is what I'm
What'd you
thinking.
do? Take a piece of paper and put it in the wall?
This
And
is
you don't
the
know what
mess-
you put in the wall?
At the time, it was probably something about health and
What time?
the time
Okay.
when I went.
You don't have to answer it now, but what I suggest that you do actually
About
is
10
to
years ago.
go back and think about the message, because I feeling that it was in another life. You were there in another lifetime, but the message that you put into the Wailing Wall is what you are coming to. It's happening. Okay, whatever it was, and I don't know. Might be health, it could be about somebody else, but I think you will see it. Even if you don't see it and remember it now, you'll see it in your dream.
It's always about.
Where'd you
the
get the
loss.
message from? Where'd you get the paper?
You write it on. You write whatever you're.
So who wrote it?
You have to write your own.
Well, obviously you wrote something.
Obviously, I wrote it
Well, obviously there's a
It will.
message
It will
coming back
come
to
to
you.
her.
in
It-
some lifetime.
It'll come to you, yes. And you were
I've been there
there
a few
in a
times.
prior lifetime, but this is where I'm getting the message in the Wailing Wall. I don't always get it accurate. I can only do what I'm feeling. So since I was thinking about a previous lifetime, I wasn't sure it was this lifetime, but you validated that for me. And whatever it was is coming about.
Did you know she went to the Wailing Wall?
No, I had no idea she'd even been to Israel. I don't
At
know.
that part I knew.
No. And I think it's something to do with peace and health and peace. I think so.
Sounds about right.
Okay.
All right, we're going to wrap this up. You've got about a minute.
Okay.
2
Well, a minute. I can say my goodbyes. Tune in
Your book?
next. My book, which I don't have, I usually have it on my lap. Call Me Zena. It's right here.
Usually you take a piece out
I
of it.
do, but I wanted to talk about
There's a lot of
something-
do's that you didn't do.
I didn't, but please scan the code if you're interested. Aldo is right there in my book. I talk about him. How
in the
he-
car-
he's
Do you
actually
have a
caught
picture of Aldo?
Adam. No, but I have one from when he was
No.
like 17. He's actually Adamir in my book. If you're wondering when you picked the book up, he wanted to remain completely anonymous.
You
but
don't have
now-
a picture in
Only
all the
his feet.
years?
I don't
What?
have anything.
You
Of
have a
his
picture of his
feet.
feet, right?
Yeah, I have a picture of his feet with my Sabrina next to him. How did you know that?
You told me. That's the
Oh.
only picture you have of him.
No, I have one when he was
Of
17.
his feet.
I have one because my dog was sitting on his feet, and I have when he was 17. But I have
That's
he wrote
the one
in
I
all my
want to see the one
books.
when he was 17.
I will show it to you. Yes, and I have many books that he left in my place.
All right,
and
so
I,
And he has his picture?
no, but it has all his handwriting on.
I'm
all the
asked to
different.
ask you for a picture of Aldo.
I only have one when he was 17
And you have to bring
with his
it with
brother.
to
I
see
have
it.
it in my camera.
Okay.
Roll.
Your camera.
In my camera roll.
I want to see it.
So
Okay.
don't forget to scan the QR code, or you can go to Amazon
Thank
and
you.
look for Call Me Zena.
And get your book.
And get my book and my artwork and some
And bring
of
it
the
in here.
sketches.
She'll autograph it.
And happy
Yeah.
Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving to everybody out there. Happy, healthy, peaceful Thanksgiving.
Amen.
Amen.
You have been watching Call Me Zena with your host, Sally Barnard. As an artist, author, and spiritual experiencer, know that you can always seek me out for resources by visiting artbysallybarnard.com. Join us next week, Mondays at 2:30. Have a blessed day.